that. It's probably too late to go to the bathroom. I know, right? I didn't have to go 10 minutes ago, but now I do. But anyway, I just feel so blessed to be here. So, fun fact of the day, did you know the teen brain, aka my brain, doesn't officially wake up until sometime around 10 a.m.? So this is super early for my brain. So y'all got to work with me a little bit, but I'm doing my best. But with all that being said, I'd love to start off with some music to get us going. All right, cool. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I try to keep it short and sweet because that's how I roll. But so I just want to give a couple of thank yous real quick. I'd love to thank LeaderCast and the amazing team, not only for all the hard work, because who knows how much work this all takes. I mean, so they're just awesome, and I'd love to thank them for including me because I just feel so blessed to be here. And then I literally wouldn't be here if it weren't for this one person, not only because they drove me and stuff, because I can't drive yet. According to my mom, I can't drive until I do a better job cleaning the kitchen. So it's true, man. It's hardcore. But I'd love to thank my mom because everything I do, she walks it out with me. And I just feel so blessed for her. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, she's kind of where it's at. Like, she has total swag. And, I'll tell you, she's awesome because, she didn't have anyone support her when she was younger and things like that. And she didn't have anyone walk it out with her. So now she spends her time walking it out with me and mentoring others. And, I tell her all the time our house is like a second-rate B&B where people check in but they never check out kind of thing. And that's because she just has that heart where she wants to serve. And so, how great to have that as a role model. So I just feel so blessed. So here's the deal. When I was 7, I got really bored at a restaurant, right? And it was a really legit restaurant here in Atlanta, and y'all should go. It's called Cina's Seafood and Oyster Bar. If you do go, ask for Arnold, because he's my brother from another mother, and he will take care of you. Seriously, that's a true fact. And I was there, and you can see the slide, but I had swag as far as style went when I was 7. I just wore stuff that was so cool that I see old photos and go, dang, where is that kid? You know what I'm saying? It was just totally great threads, right? And so I was out in my styling outfit at this restaurant, and I said, hey, Mom, I'm really bored, so I'm going to go play some music. And she said, all right, because, she's that cool. And so I ran out to the hallway where the restrooms were, and I started playing my harmonica, right? And it got hot, so I took my hat off and continued to play, and people thought that I was trying to get money. And I know, and so by the end of the night, I had $80 in my hat. And I was thrilled, because I'm thinking, man, I got $80 for taking my hat off, right? So I'm thrilled. So in my head, I'm like, all right, so this is cool, because now I'm going to buy a house. I'm gonna, hindsight, I probably wasn't a smart 7-year-old thinking I could buy a house with $80, but, it didn't occur to me. And I'm like, I can buy a house, I can buy a car, I can eat Cinnabons 3 times a day, because, who doesn't want to do that, right? And so I just had my plan. But then I remembered a newsletter my mom had read me about African orphans battling intestinal parasites. And so I remember thinking I had everything I needed, and they didn't. And just something about that just really struck my heart. And so I said, I'm going to donate this money, and I'm going to give it away. And so with my $80, my fortune in my head, I was able to buy 320 pills for them. And honestly, that one small choice to give changed my life forever, and it put me on my path of purpose. And so Aidan Cares is what we call it, and basically what it is, and by the way, when I say we, I'm referring to my mom and I, because like I said, we're a team. I'm not in some kind of cult, but it's my team. Because you never can be sure nowadays. No, I'm so kidding. That was such a joke. But anyway, so we call it Aidan Cares, and what it is, and the legit tagline, and I think it's pretty cool, and I'm not just saying that because I wrote it, but I think it's legit. But it's called Imparting the Joy and Necessity of Giving to All Ages, and that's what it's all about, because I really believe there is a joy in giving. And basically what we've done, and we've done it for 8 years now, and it's just been so great. And my mom and I, we've traveled around and just said yes to serving anywhere we can, whether or not it's at corporations, schools, children's hospitals, hospices, whatever it is, it's just saying, yes, we'll serve, how can we help? And that's just opened so many amazing doors when you just kind of die to yourself and say, I'm willing to help you, I'm willing to serve, let me do it. And so we've spent thousands of hours doing that. And I gotta say, it's been the best way to spend my childhood because I have well-being at the end of the day, knowing that I'm living out what I was born to do and knowing that I'm helping others, because I think that's the best thing in the world to be able to do. And so today there's a million ways I could have gone about this, but I just kind of want to tell some life lessons that I've gotten along the way. And so it won't be long because I hadn't been around that long, So, so in short, I'll probably only be up here for 30 seconds doing that. But because, I'm still a fetus. No, I'm kidding. So basically I'm not. So the first life lesson is I realized the first real give that we need to give is ourselves, is our authentic selves. Because I realize we live in a day and age where it's really easy not to be ourselves. So I'm going to tell you a quick story about that. So I went to something called Cotillion. Who's been to Cotillion? Right? So some of y'all have been to Cotillion. And for those of you who don't know, Cotillion is basically charm school for pubescents. Right? That's what it is. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, man. So you go up there, and basically, so I was 13, and for me, it was grueling. I don't know why. The kids there, they weren't that friendly, and so it's really hard to get your classic dance moves on when, the kids aren't friendly and things like that, and it really affected me. And I remember I was going in the last night. It was the last class, and I'd made it over the hump, and it was really hard. It was like Wednesday, and I had the whole weekend coming up, and I remember I ran to grab my scarf out of the car because it was cold, and I said, my mom was worried, by the way, because I wouldn't wear the uniform, the khakis and blue blazer. So that's just not my thing. No offense to people here in khakis and blue blazers. That's just not me. But so I didn't do that, and I said, look, Mom, if they're going to hate me, they're going to at least hate the real me, right? And so I ended up being myself that last night, and it all worked out. It turns out that when you're yourself, it works out, because the parts that they liked about me were the parts that I was hiding that was really who I was. And so my question to all of you is, what are we hiding of ourselves that's really the parts other people need to see? What are we hiding of ourselves that, people need to impact them? And so I was just kind, and it made a difference. And it's the little things, these little everyday life things that we go through. For me, it was Cotillion. For y'all, it's your work life, or when you're pumping gas in your car. I feel like kindness just always matters. And I feel like any encounter we have with other people when we're not kind is an encounter that we felt. And I know that's like an intense statement, but I really believe it, because kindness is it. Kindness is key. And, I just feel so blessed at a young age to be able to have that revelation, because now I have my whole life to be able to be kind. And I know that it's a gift. And so I encourage you all just to look for ways that you can make a difference, look for ways that you can be kind. And one thing I want to talk about, this is a cause that's really heavy on my heart, but, a lot of people think that when I talk that everything's easy, right? Everything that I do is easy in life, that when you start giving, all of a sudden, like, it's rainbows and happy, and when it's really not. Like, you will have struggles, you will have rough circumstances that you have to get through, but it's what you choose to do when that happens that defines you. And I believe we're defined by how we handle things, obviously. And so don't believe the lie that who you are and what you are isn't enough. The last 4 years, I've been going to children's hospitals, and I've made a lot of friends who are battling pediatric cancer. And it's really been difficult because you can't take their pain away from them. You can't take their illness as much as you want to. You can only be a good friend. You can only be kind. And so I've watched that suffering, and it's impacted me, but it's also changed me. And I learned that when you give of yourself and that when you're kind, you can change the way people see things. And unfortunately, in the last 2 years, I've lost 4 friends to pediatric cancer, and it's been hard. And most recently, I lost my little friend, Grant Gosling. And that was tough because he was probably the sweetest human being you've ever met. And I'm pretty convinced that he was a superhero. Like, this kid was just out of this world, and if you asked him who he was, he'd tell you he was Spider-Man. But something amazing happened. His family, the same month he was diagnosed, started a charity called Granting Grace Foundation for Childhood Cancer. And they taught me one of the biggest lessons ever, and that is giving through your trials to get to the other side. Because they're living out their worst nightmare, and yet they're choosing to give each day. So Mr. Mike Gosling, he's here in the house. I don't know where he is, but sir, I want you to know that I love you guys, and y'all are my heroes. And so thank you so much for giving through, because I know it's not easy. And the fact that they're doing that is just unbelievable, and it's changed my life. So I encourage you all to look for ways that you can give through and dig deep inside of yourself to find your passion. Because I find that if you serve out of who you are and out of what you love, it's not a struggle, it's a lifestyle. And you don't burn out if you're being yourself and doing what you love and still helping others. Because which is the better life? The life that helps other people or the life that only helps themselves? So help others, be who you are, find your passion, and give from that place. And before I go, I would love to hear from you guys on Facebook, social media. Check it out. It's Aidan Cares, A-I-D-A-N. And I would love to hear about ways that you give, ways that you serve, even if it's just giving of yourself or being kind by using the hashtag Aidan Cares. And I just really appreciate your time today. This is such a blessing, and I feel so grateful. And then one last thing, too, I will have an original song on iTunes coming up, so that would be really cool. So if you're interested, please be looking out for that. But I would love to thank you all. So before I go, I'm going to end on harmonica, since what got me here today, and I really appreciate your time, and God bless. Take care. Thank you. Thanks. All right. Thank you all so much.
High five.
What's up, man?
Aidan Thomas Hornaday, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can head back.
Cool.